I didn't want to feel that I was abandoning anything during the COVID problems. I thought it was a battle that we should all stick together to win, and I think whilst we haven't completely won, the signs are very good. The light at the end of the tunnel burns brighter. The government are vaccinating everybody, and we look as if we're going to come out of a very difficult period for not just sport but for life in this country. So it was an easy decision to make. Although I would never admit it publicly other than to you, my good friends of the press, but I'm 73 in June. No one gets younger. Although when I look at myself in the morning, of course, I'm always impressed. There is probably more trouble with my eyesight than my body. So I am still full of energy, but I have developed over the years team that work for Matchroom Group of companies, and in particular World Snooker, that are now ready to pick up the mantle that we began together and to take it to the next level. I think they can do a better job in some areas than I can do, and I think I should be big enough to admit that and say, move on. You know, I passed the chairmanship on to Steve Dawson on my left because he's been my right-hand man for over 30 years. There isn't anyone I trust more in my business, and he has not learned from the feet of the master, but understood the ethos that goes into what makes sport tick and what are our values. We value certainly making a profit. We're in business to be a sustainable business, but we value prize money levels, opportunities and diversity, and Steve understands that and is the man to continue those principles going forward. And alongside Steve, his team, which I'm sure he will make various appointments and changes wherever because he's in charge. It's not me in charge anymore. And the team have done an absolutely unbelievable job during this COVID period, the last 12 months. You know, when I look at so many other smaller sports, and I leave football out, you know, cricket, golf, snooker's right up there, but a lot of sports have given up. You know, they haven't had the funds, the resources, the appetite, or the energy to fight this battle against COVID, and it has been a battle. But we have delivered, and we've come up to the plate, and we have preserved our snooker tour against all the odds. We've not reduced prize money in any event by 1 penny. We have actually created new events during COVID and actually filmed more snooker in the last 12 months than we did in the 12 months prior. And this is a magnificent achievement that would only be possible with a fantastic team, which has helped me with my decision to say these guys are ready. They're ready. And I don't want to hold anyone back. And as Judd Trump said in his interview the other day, we are living in a younger world. And technical advances, whether it be linear to digital, whether we be talking about streaming or whatever, we need a team that can embrace this, and I've got that team, and they've been trained well, and they're now ready to add their little bit of magic, personal magic, which I'm going to be excited, the same as you guys, to see where they take this great sport. I shall be in the background, as you would expect, struggling on my dotage. I don't know whether I'll be in the background at a fishing lake or a golf course, or, as we know, next week, playing cricket for the over 70s against Northants, which is something I'm looking forward to enormously and dreading slightly. But as always, I've got a variety of personal projects that I intend to get involved in and still maintain my availability to World Snooker and the other companies in our fast expanding group to act as advisor in event strategy and global development. Some people say that's what I'm best at. Other people quite rightly say that's because you like flying around the world and having a good time. So somewhere in the middle is the reason for my new job. And I'm going to be passionate, as I always will be, about a sport that changed my life 40 years ago today when Steve Davis won the world title. And a sport that I've never forgotten what I owe it. Was delighted to come back in 2010 in probably one of my crowning moments of my near 50-year career, to acquire control of World Snooker, to make it a subsidiary of Matchroom Sport, and to get the opportunity to put into place the plans that I always dreamed we could. And those plans are built around meritocracy, building up top players to have a lifestyle and earning capacity that inspires other kids, to spread the game around the world irrespective of colour, race, creed, religion, purely built on ability. And we've achieved some unbelievable results, and there's a lot more to achieve for the team under Steve Dawson going forward. You know, Jason Ferguson has a big job on his hands with the amateur game and spreading the game. I know it's a job that he relishes, and he will be a marvellous partner to Steve Dawson, as we have been, myself and Jason, over the years, where we've got the interest of snooker first. Unlike the new football proposal, our interest in profit is third, not first. So the game itself is first, the players are second, and then the profitability of the business is third. We've created a wonderful business. Matchroom as a company has grown beyond recognition, and it's time now across the board. Dawson is taking over World Snooker. Matt Porter becomes chairman of Matchroom Multisport with its ever-growing list of activities under Emily Fraser's stewardship. And of course Eddie, who's, you know, far, far better than me. It's definitely time for me to say goodbye and let Eddie run everything else, because he's doing an unbelievable job, not just on boxing but on other developments throughout the group. So he'll take over as chairman of the PDC, EuroPro Tour, Matchroom Boxing USA. He's got a big job, but it's a job that he's wanted since he was 8 years old. So he's got his wish, and it's not a sad day for me, it's a happy day. I'm delighted where we are. I'm delighted we've come through COVID. I'm delighted we're emerging at the end a stronger business, showing character that was unsurpassed in my view in British sport in the last 12 months. And I look forward to going back to being a bit of a fan, really, I suppose, because I love the sport and I love what it does for people.
When you made your decision, how emotional were those conversations with family members and nearest and dearest?
No, I don't do a lot of emotion on business decisions, you know. I mean, there's a part of me that inevitably remembers the times when we started, and, you know, every bet we had on Steve Davis was life and death. You know, every time we won the first few trophies was like a high beyond anything that can be chemically enhanceable, you know. As a period of time, you mature as a person, you get more reflective. And I've had time through COVID to reflect on the fact that I think COVID has been the hardest part of my 50-year career in sport. You know, to maintain enthusiasm, passion, to get the job done, to deliver. You know, it's not been easy, trust me. Many would have been faltered, but with the team I had behind me, it wasn't ever an option for us. But it wasn't, it was probably, I think everybody in my family sees what I put in every day. I've done a good shift, 7 days a week, nearly 50 years. Not regretted a single second of it. But I think that my family were quite relaxed about maybe it's Bazza's time now, which is, I don't know what that's going to entail. I mean, if I make naught against Northants on Wednesday, all bets are off. I could be back in a job by Thursday. You know, I might get thrown out. My golf handicap has got to come down. The fish have got to get bigger on the end of my rod. And I've got a few interesting kids things I want to do through the foundation and stuff like that. So I'm going to be busy, but just not the same pressure, intensity of wanting to deliver and excel in every day I work. So the family were quite, you know, supportive. Eddie thought it was well overdue, as you'd expect Eddie to think, you know. Didn't know why I was there in the first place. I had one text from the office today to say, Nando's for everyone, Eddie's celebrating. Bracket, don't get used to this. Close bracket. That was his first chairman's activity. But, you know, I'm in awe of people with ability, whether they be sportsmen or business people. And I'm in awe of the teams that I've got. And I'm excited. You know, Matchroom has grown, as I say, from 2 people in 1982 underneath a snooker rule, rather at beginning, really, to probably the biggest or one of the biggest sports promotion companies in the world, and still a British company and still family owned. It's a hell of a story, and it's a story I've been proud of. And like all stories, that comes to an end, and you hand a book over to the next generation and say, you can write the next chapter, and I'll let you know afterwards what I think of it. So, you know, I'm excited. I spend my life in childish excitement. I'm excited about every event. I mean, I write up my rankings by hand on every tournament. I'm a sad anorak, really, but I like to give this feeling of the worldly entrepreneur. It's not really true. I just love my life, and the fact that it's been successful that's just happened. That's just evolved. All I've ever tried to do is be the best I can be. It ain't gone too badly.